Today, we're going to discuss 5 very important privacy and security tools that can keep you safe, secure, and living the ghost life that you definitely should be doing. I'm going to break down these 5 tools, why you need them, what their use case is, and I'm going to give everyone an alternative because I know that not everyone is on the exact same budget. Today, in Operation Privacy Tools. All right, so the first one we're going to break down right now is internet. I did a video recently about ghost internet. You can see it right here. But a lot of people ask me, what about a nomad option? What about an option for people on the go? What about a secondary option? Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're staying in hotels, airports, etc. Public Wi-Fi is not a good option and I do not recommend it. Now you can use things like VPNs to help, but it doesn't really stop from hacking. And now there are so many tools that can spoof Wi-Fi that you need to be very, very careful. So having your own internet, whether you're a nomad or you're on the go, is vital. I talk a lot about Mint Mobile. You've seen that. I use that in a lot of my burner phones. But in this video, I'm not going to talk about phones. We're going to talk about an option through Visible, which is something I've used for a while. You can get a Visible SIM card and use something like a Mophie router. You could see the 4500 and the 5500 right here. The 5500 is the newer one that came out. And I've got one. I've used the 4500 for a long time. 5500 is somewhat newer. So after I use it for a few months, I'll give a full breakdown and review. But I don't like to do unboxings on this channel. I only like to talk about tech that I've actually used for a long time before I bring it to you guys and let you know the pros and the cons. That's the benefit of buying all these things with my own money. I can say whatever I want to say about them. Now, that's a good option for internet, but what about a device to get on the internet? Like I said, I've done tons of burner phone videos, so we're not going to talk about phones in this video, but we are going to talk about the device of a laptop. Most of you have a laptop. Now, I recommend Linux for all of you at all the time if you can swing it. There are some applications that you need on other programs. Maybe you have to use a Microsoft Windows, that's unfortunate. Or maybe like for me, I use Apple for some things. My team uses Apple for editing and we use Apple. I've got an Apple MacBook Pro. I've got several Apple computers. So I toggle between my Linux and my Apple products. But what I recommend, I've got a System 76 laptop. You can see System 76 right here, which is really good. It's a really good device. I've had it for quite a while. And then I toggle back and forth also with my MacBook Pro. But if you can't afford to go out and get a Linux laptop, one thing you could do is just use VirtualBox, which is free. I've done a full tutorial on this channel on how to set up VirtualBox and use something like Unix, so you have a gateway and then you have a workstation, which gives you a lot more compartmentalization, which is vital, and separates you from, you know, would-be hackers, would-be data thieves, etc. So System 76 is a good option in my opinion, something worth checking out. Another thing I want to talk about is juicejacking. This is a legit thing, juicejacking. And I'm not talking about the steroids that bodybuilders take. No, I am talking about people actually inserting malware through outlets. Now, this has become popular for a couple of decades now. And you've probably seen this in spy movies, but it's a real thing. There's been an estimate that over 50% of outlets in places like airports, coffee shops, and standard lounges could be compromised. So you plug in, and here's the thing. You take your device, you plug in, you do something on your device. They have God mode access. God mode access is what they have. Whatever you do, any place you go, banking, you buy something on the internet, they can see your camera, they can hear you on the microphone. And once they own it, it's not like you unplug it and they lose that access. Once the malware is installed, it is forever. So I really, really recommend you use a USB data blocker here. These are very inexpensive. I'm not going to give you an alternative to this because these literally cost peanuts. I recommend you buy a handful of them. People ask me, where do I recommend you use these? Everywhere. Cody, did you say everywhere? Yes, I said everywhere. What about in my own house? Everywhere. You never know. I mean, literally, if someone wanted to hack you, that's the easiest place. Now, one thing you could do is use those portable chargers, which I always recommend, and then you're using house power or outlet power to power your power brick and your power brick to power your device, provided the brick has never been out of your hands, because those are also a really easy thing to insert malware, which is very scary. But where do you use the USB data blockers? Everywhere. everywhere. I don't care if it's at your friend's house. I don't care if it's at your parents' house. I don't care if it's at your own house. So you use one of these. A power brick. Okay. This is just a simple power brick that you could buy. I've got probably half a dozen of them that I use all the time. I take them with me in my EDC bag. I take them everywhere. And you plug this in. But again, you want to make sure these are not compromised. Or if you're plugging your charger directly into a port, then you need to use a USB data blocker for all of it. Now, they come in different sizes. There's all different kinds. But I strongly recommend them. I strongly recommend them to all of you because this is one of the easiest exploits. It's probably the one exploit that might be easier than your smart TV or your Internet of Things IoT devices, which are shockingly easy to hack. Shockingly easy. I'm not the greatest hacker in the world, but I can hack most of these things very easy. I got people that I work with and associate with, especially here in Vegas, who are some of the best hackers in the world. Kevin Mitnick level, famous hackers and people who are very high level that I associate with and that I work with, they can hack just about anything. I'm not the best hacker in the world, although I am pretty good, more on the maker side, but I know how this stuff comes together, and this is some scary stuff. So this is vital, and it's very inexpensive, and it's right there with, you've heard me talk about the mic lock, where you plug into your device. So the USB data blocker, the mic lock, and the YubiKey, those three things I pretty much keep on a keychain. If I'm gonna plug anything in, I got my data blocker. If I'm going to open anything up, I've got my YubiKey. And if I'm going to utilize my device, I put in my mic lock unless I need the mic to transmit audio. But your device spying on you is almost guaranteed. So you can see this device, YubiKey, mic lock, and data blocker. Those three devices, but I'm really focused on the data blocker for this one because I've done detailed tutorials on the other two standalone, so you can check those out as well. Next, I want to touch on something, Monero. Monero is something that I recommend everyone have. Now, should you use Monero on a regular basis? This is a tough one for me, and a lot of people have asked me, Cody, why don't you just, go all Monero? The problem is a Monero-like coin will be the future. Do I think it will be Monero? I really don't know because the FBI is currently targeting Monero. Now, of course, they're targeting for illegal activities. It's not illegal to own Monero, right? That's not illegal. It's not like it's a drug. It's not like it's an illegal substance. But what they think is if the government can't have their hand in your cookie jar at all times, then you must be a underworld secret spy criminal, right? And so they're trying to track and they're trying to hurt Monero. An alternative to that would be the pirate chain. RARRR is another good option. And there's a lot of other good options that I broke down here on this channel. But Monero is something that I recommend everyone have a Monero wallet and just have a little bit of Monero. Do I recommend you use it every day? I don't think it's necessarily necessary. And part of the problem with crypto is it's not accepted everywhere. But the one thing you could do is, an emergency fund. People always ask me, should I have an emergency fund in crypto? If you were going to have an emergency fund in crypto, Monero, in my opinion, would be the best option. So if you had a, system, if you had a Linux laptop with a Monero wallet on it, and you secured it the way that I show in my breakdown of how to secure the Linux computer video, and then you have your own internet through Visible and a Mofi router, MoFi, is it, I think whatever, MOFI router. You'll figure it out. Then you'll be in a pretty good place. Next thing I recommend is Raspberry Pi for two things. One, so you have a portable Linux computer, and two, so you have a portable VPN. And I think a VPN is vital. I think a portable VPN is vital because you need an encrypted tunnel, but I'm losing trust rapidly in a lot of the mass market consumer grade VPNs. I'm losing trust in a lot of them because of the way things have been going. So having a Raspberry Pi, you can see here, you got the Raspberry Pi Zero, you got the, the latest models of Raspberry Pi, you can get Wi-Fi editions, you can lock them down. So many things you could do, and also have a Linux machine with you at all times. You can have a, a standard Raspberry Pi like this, which I use all of the time. I use this Raspberry Pi basically every day for lots of functions. I've got 3 or 4 that are just like this, and I've got a pocket full of these Raspberry Pi Zeros. I've got a project here on the channel coming up. Also, you might have seen when I took the GPS chip out, I'm doing a Frankenstein with the Raspberry Pi Zero 2, a Frankenphone. So I'm always using Raspberry Pi. I think it's one of the best inventions out there as far as being able to take back control of some of your technology. I use Raspberry Pis for everything. You're talking about Internet of Things. I have probably 20 or 30 Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and just kind of makeshifting my own things as opposed to buying these off the shelf things that are stalking you at all times. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that. These are the 5 devices that I strongly recommend. I know I had a couple other in there. Let me know down below what you think would be in 5 devices that everyone should have. Also, let me know some devices you want to see me review. We are going to be doing some reviews on some really cool tech this year, which is going to be awesome. We've done a few in the past, and we will be doing more. Again, my reviews are typically things I've had in my possession for 30 to 90 days minimum, so I can actually give you honest feedback as opposed to an unboxing, which just is not my thing. Appreciate you guys checking this out. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Put out new content here on Privacy X all the time. Give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next video.